Next, I would like to invite our guest speaker, Dr. Sharon Marin, the educational psychology, Texas A&M, the University, USA. She will be presenting about evaluations of a virtual professional development in the context of virtual professional learning communities with virtual mentoring and coaching. So thank you so much. So now the floor is yours.
Hello from Texas. My name is Sharon. Thank you for allowing me to come and be a part of this organization and conference. I really appreciate that. That's a huge title, so a lot of acronyms in there. It kind of jumbles in my mind as well. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you. Okay, so can everybody hear me okay? Yeah, okay, good. Good morning, Cambodia. So I work with Texas A&M University here in College Station, Texas. We're not too far from Houston, Texas. I don't know if you've been in some of the other presentations, but all of our presentations have a very common thread. We work with virtual professional learning communities and virtual mentoring and coaching. And I work for a very large federal grant. And part of that, there's actually 5 projects all wrapped up in this ginormous grant, if you can imagine that. So I have one pillar of all of that. And anyway, so the PIs are Dr. Beverly Irby, Dr. Rafael Lara Alessio, and Dr. Fui Tong. And our project, the title is, of course, Virtual Professional Communities with Virtual Mentoring and Coaching using MOOPILS, and I'll get into that in just a moment. Yeah. So the contents in this presentation include the goals of this project, of our research project. What are Moople, VPLC, VMC, steps in our study, data collection, and results. So the goal, I'm going to start with that. I'm going to do a little bit of reading, so don't fall asleep on me. We'll perk it up here in a minute. So the study was a part of a large federally funded project titled APLUS, and what that stands for is Accelerated Preparation of Leaders for Underserved Schools. And our goal, and we actually went past our goal, was to prepare 1,800 in-service teachers. And what I mean by in-service is teachers that are already working in the schools to build instructional capacity at the campus level to support instructions for English learners, economically challenged students, and academically struggling students. And sometimes when you think about ELs, English learners, you know, some of the same struggles that they have, you're going to find the same struggles with students who are, you know, in special education or other things, because some of the strategies they use help them, you know, make the progress that they need. So that's why I put in there also academically struggling students. We examine the effects of the massive open online professional independent learning. Woo, that's a mouthful. You can just say Moople, through participating in virtual professional learning communities. So teachers really across the globe use professional learning communities, or, you know, their practice. And so we take it to another level, not because of COVID. We were doing this before, but taking it to the virtual level. And then on top of that, we've included another layer of the mentoring and coaching, of course, virtual. So there you get the acronyms. So what is a Moople? So we have to understand this study, because there's like 3 layers here. You've got your virtual professional development, what we call our Mooples, and I'll get to that. And then the VPLC, then the VMC. So if you can kind of imagine a canopy of sorts in the rainforest. So a Moople is basically an online module. I'm sorry. The Moople is just an online module that our research team has developed. And we use Canvas, which is a platform, an online platform that we, that you can go and use these modules. Mooples provide an online platform for creating meaningful communities of practice for teachers who educate English learners. Again, our MOOPLs are not just for teachers that teach strictly English learners. The MOOPLs are for, gosh, pre-service, in-service, teachers who teach PE even, because there's such a wide variety of the MOOPLs that people can take at really no matter the level that they're teaching. MOOPLs offer teachers practice modules on different aspects of academic, social, and of course the linguistic needs. The target with this particular project is to improve educators' instructional capacity and practices, as well as students' academic achievement in high-need schools. And high-need schools are those schools where, you know, the majority of the children or the students are economically challenged and just don't come to school with the same privileges or the same experiences that other children that, you know, have been read to, or, you know, those sorts of things. So trying to fill those gaps. So we offer these and they're free, and you can even take them in Cambodia. I don't think it's a problem, not at all. So we offer these, they're free because they're supported by our grant. We have some that are strictly for teachers, and then we have some for school leadership, like principals and superintendents and so forth. And they kind of look like this. So I just kind of wanted to give a picture of them. So this would be our VPD our virtual professional development that we use in the PLCs, the virtual PLCs. So that's where I'm going through all of this. And then on Canvas, it would look something like this, just to kind of give you an idea what, you know, it'd look like. And yes, you would be part of our great Texas A&M if that's, you know, if you're interested. Now the Moople, let me try to, I'm sorry, do I admit these people, or let me get this thing out of the way? Okay. The Moople is the online learning, and our PIs have developed a very, an intricate way, a very specific way of going through these, and they use the LEADER model. And so we start with a leading question, just like you would in a lesson that you're teaching. Boys and girls, what do you know about the moon? You know, just to get kids involved. So you want to get teachers involved. Then there's an engagement part of the Moople. There's some that are scenarios that people read about. Sometimes it's a video that they watch. Sometimes it's, you know, put your thoughts down about this. All sorts of different ways to engage, because we know that learners who are engaged emotionally, or that they're using their schemata, or they're connecting, they're going to be more engaged throughout, right? Then we get to this really cool part called the applied research. And this is the part that each of these Mooples is supported by rigorous peer-reviewed studies. So it's not, well, this worked for my grandma, so I'm sure it'll be okay for you. So we really want to make sure that teachers or administrators who are taking these Mooples understand that what they're reading is science. And it's not just any science. So we're very careful about those, you know, the studies that we cite, and make sure that we are backing that up. Anything that are in the Mooples with rigorous research. Then there's a discussion. So you've learned, now you get to talk, you know, or in this sense, it would probably be writing. Then you go into examples. So you're taking, like, for example, my context might be a 5th grade bilingual classroom. Here in Texas, we have lots of bilingual classrooms. I was a bilingual teacher. But then, you know, to kind of expand what I understand, you're going to take it to a different context. Maybe a monolingual classroom, maybe a high school classroom with struggling students in writing. I don't know, you know, just different scenarios there. So for example, if the Moople were about writing, a writing strategy, for example, then you would want to see, what does that writing strategy look like in a 1st grade classroom? What does it look like with students with intellectual, I just drew a blank. Let's say ADHD, you know, in 7th grade. So, you know, what does that writing strategy look like in different areas? Okay, and then we go to the reflection, and I'll go to the next slide for that. And so Dr. Irby has this transformative type reflection cycle, and we even have an app that helps administrators and teachers really think about what they've learned in the Moople, but then take it to a next step to really transform their practice in some way. Okay. Then the other part of this study includes a VPLC. So most of us know what a PLC is. It's when we get together as teachers, we're talking about things that we're learning about and so forth to hopefully, increase our instructional capacity or understand our students better, so forth. So in this context, VPLC refers to the group or the staff members doing collaborative learning with the goal of improving professional learning as suggested by our wonderful PIs, Dr. Irby, Dr. Lara Jalecio, and Dr. Tom. Okay. Now, I have to kind of go through this so that you would understand the actual VPLC. I don't know if you've seen this in other presentations, but these are the steps that we implement with fidelity to make sure that as we're, collecting our data, that everything is done with fidelity. So in a VPLC, let's say you have a group of 5 or 6 teachers or administrators or a mix of those, you determine who will facilitate the VPLC. Okay, so in a way, you get some modeling and then people start, little by little chugging along. Maybe not doing the whole thing, but maybe they do 1 or 2 sections. All team members participate in the VPLC. And, like there's a go-to meeting or there's a Zoom link, but, everybody's involved. And they do the Moople that is assigned to them before they get into that VPLC. So it's like you got to do your homework before you can just dive in. And then based on selected content and topic, facilitator introduces the leading question, the engagement, maybe the research, but people take different, take turns. The group works through the applied research, the discussion, and the example portion of the framework. And then they share as a team how the team will transform. What are the next goals? When are we going to meet again? And then we also are going to discuss the reflection. So these VPLCs, require a little bit of time before, some prep time. But then through the VPLC, certainly with the VMC, with the virtual mentor and coach, that learning goes deeper and broader. And the really cool thing about our studies is, if you don't mind my bragging, is that, we have people from all over the United States. So the discussions get really interesting. Just really, really interesting. Okay, then we're going to go to virtual mentoring and coaching. That, I guess you could say, a third layer there. The main outcome of an effective mentoring, is individual growth that should be on a professional and personal levels. Okay, so that's mentoring. Outcome of coaching, however, targets an individual's performance and outcomes, but we work with both. So there's 2 levels going on during the VPLCs with the VMC. Now we're going to put all this together. Okay, so we've got, little pieces of puzzles all over there. Now we're going to put it all together. The combination of the VPLC with the VMC enhances and even transforms a group professional development process. Okay, and all of this, the underpinning or the common thread, I guess you could say, is the LEA-DER model, going through each one of those letters as we go through the Moople. Now I'll get to the steps in the study. Are there any questions, comments? None. Okay. All right. So what we did is we recruited across the United States and in Texas for participants to be a part of these virtual learning communities that use a specific Moople as the professional learning component for each of the VPLCs. And I'll show you those in just a moment. And then participants, like I said, completed the assigned Moople before the meeting, before they met in that week. So, this Moople needs to be done. It's sent out. There's a link. You do your Moople. They usually take, I'm not kidding you, about 30 to 45 minutes. So it's not, labor intensive. And then you get ready for your VPLC. The VPLC aimed to extend the participants' learning by using the LEA-DER model, leading questions, the engagement, the applied research, the discussion, the examples, and the reflection. VPLCs brought educators together, of course, like I said, from various states, teaching assignments, experiences, and of course, challenges. We had people from Alaska, New Mexico, Utah, Iowa, New Jersey, Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, California, and I think there's even more. I just put a few states here. And this last cohort, we've had several cohorts. The last cohort actually just went through, you know, as COVID was making its way through the United States, in March, basically everything started to shut down, and schools included as well, you know. And these VPLCs just kept going. It was just amazing how teachers found strength in all of that as well. So the MOOPLs that we used in the data that I'm showing you today in this cohort were assessing students' phonic knowledge, stages of spelling development, of course in English, reading fluency, strategies to support writing development in English language learners. But again, those writing strategies could be used for students with ADHD, students with autism, students who are struggling, students who are just learning, right? Strategies to support reading development, again, for ELLs, but again, my background is in special education. So any strategy is going to reduce the cognitive load. It's just going to help, you know, a student focus and be able to complete a task. If they're doing well without it, then good for them. If they need a little help, then use the strategy. That's why they're there. So our independent variable was the virtual mentoring and coaching. So we had two groups, just like a good study, right? We had the treatment group, they participated in weekly VPLCs, and they got this wonderful VMC. With the same MOOPLs, everybody got the same MOOPLs, the same 5. Then we had the control group. The control group participated in weekly VPLCs, but they didn't receive the VMC. So we wanted to see what was going to happen with all of that. Now, I will tell you, I was in on the control groups. Yes, we gave them a structure. We helped them understand, you know, what's their goals. There was structure, but there was not any VMC. There was not, hey, could we go a little bit further with this? But what would you do in this particular situation? What about, you know, students with this disorder? I don't know, I'm just making stuff up. So instead of taking these discussions just up to another layer, or let's say you've got that one person who's never says anything, just kind of shows up and sits in the background, you know, well, quiet Susie just stayed quiet. So, you know, those sorts of things just stayed as they were. Business as usual, as they say, right? The data collection that we used pre and post tests developed by our research team. I developed most of those. So the questions consisted, you know, we had true and false, we had multiple choice, we had multiple answers, you know, multiple choice questions, all sorts of stuff. We had questions were constructed, I'm sorry, my dog. Questions were constructed based on central concepts, strategies, or theories covered in that particular MOOPL. So every MOOPL has its own set of questions. Each question worth 1 point. Each MOOPL has, about 5. Some of them have maybe 6 questions, but typically 5. All VPLCs were recorded and used for further qualitative analysis as well. So some examples of the questions, just to kind of give you an idea. So they took the pre and post. Remember, pre, you're not going to see much difference because everybody's going in, unless they already know a lot about a particular subject. When considering assessments, which of the following would be optimal for English language learners or English learners? Series of assessments, only standard assessments, single assessment once a year, assess when a student can speak with their friends, So you'd have to read the Moople to know the answer. Blank is one of the most challenging alphabetic languages to decode. English, Spanish, German, Swedish, okay? Another example would be, which of the following is not a syllable pattern? Are controlled, digraphs, consonant LE, diphthong. And last, which of the following is not an example of VC/CCV, lobster tantrum complex pumpkin. And you would be surprised at teachers teaching reading who sometimes get these things wrong. Scary thought. But again, you know, continuing learning, professional development, it's very important. It's very important to keep up with our skills. So what we basically found out, which was good for us, the results from t-test confirmed significant effect of the VMC in the Moople pass rates between the treatment and control groups. Awesome. So remember, there were 5 Mooples, and 3 of the 5, we found significance between the treatment and control, okay? One of them was reading fluency, that we know is very, very important when learning to read. Without fluency, you cannot, I mean, it obstructs the comprehension. So you've got to get that fluency. Strategies to support reading development in ELs and strategies to support writing development. So the results of the study indicated that the virtual mentoring and coaching had statistically significant effects in developing knowledge and skills from Moople in treatment groups as they began to integrate the Moople content to lead interactive discussions. And so one of the things when I think about these, you know, the Mooples were the same. Everybody got the same. Everybody got the 1 hour VPLC. You know, those are your constants there. But the VMC, to kind of, you know, get people engaged, getting people more involved in leading the VPLCs as well, increasing teacher agency, increasing accountability, increasing, you know, the idea of, hey, you're coming, we're going to learn. It has an effect, obviously, a significant one. And who is going to benefit from that at the end of the day? The students benefit. So we also had some surveys. This is only one of the ones that I just put some things up here. I don't know if you guys can see it. It seems kind of small, but I'll just read 2 or 3. Percentage of participants who mentioned they are very well prepared for supporting ELs' literacy development needs in English. We had 89.7% say, and this was after. These are only the people who were in the treatment group. So what they're talking about, what the survey was trying to capture was their perception of the VMC, okay? Let's see. Percentage of participants who mentioned they are very well prepared for choosing the high quality research-based intervention for English learners. Because with the VMC, that was something that was talked about over and over again, you know, really understanding what research is, because not always do our teachers leave the undergraduate level with a firm understanding of what rigorous studies or, you know, like what works clearinghouse, why is a strategy effective? What does that really mean? So these were the discussions that were also part of, you know, the VPLC with the VMC. Percentage of participants who were extremely comfortable with VPD, we saw 75%. Of course, there's not going to be everyone. It's kind of hard, even for me talking right now, it's just kind of hard. You know, I'm talking to somebody from Colorado, I'm talking from, I mean, to be in that, everybody is an extrovert, so it's a little difficult. That's why you have to build that community and trust. Okay, guys, I didn't think I was going to talk that long, but if you would have any questions, I'm here.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for your insightful presentation on a topic about evaluation of virtual professional development in the context of virtual professional learning communities in virtual mentoring and coaching. So now it is the time for question and answer. So the first question I will take from our participants, from Dr. Jennifer McMahon. The question is, did you look at the student outcomes as a part of your evaluation and effectiveness of your professional learning model? did you see transfers of MOOPIL, sorry, yes, MOOPIL work to teaching practice? So please answer this question.
Hi, Jennifer, thank you for the question. So this is actually something that we're working towards now, getting more people involved in one campus for that level. But as far as teacher transfer, we did use a transfer survey. I don't remember the exact name of it, but we did find evidence of teachers using the knowledge, transferring it to their daily instructional practice as well. We do have evidence of that, yes.
Thank you. So
Yes.
another one is from, yes, I think from our participant as well. So the question is, can you provide a small space to learn from you after this conference? Because I am curious to learn more. It is really interesting topic to me. What are the challenge of the using this platform? Because it is new for me as a Cambodian teacher. So do you have any?
The challenges of using Canvas? I think that's what she's asking.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure what this person, who this person is. We'd need your name. And I would be more than happy to speak with you about this. I'm glad that you're excited about it. The Canvas is actually very user-friendly. That you won't have, and we've made a lot of updates that is very user-friendly. So you go in, basically, it's like, you know, looking at a menu from a restaurant. What do I want to eat today? And you can choose whichever. And the really great thing is that we do give, I don't know if it would count in Cambodia, you'll have to forgive me. There's maybe a lot of I don't knows here, but we do give a certificate. And okay, thank you. I see your email, and I will put you in contact with our team as well, and they can direct you to see, you know, what we can, how we can help you and so forth. Did that answer the question?
I hope so. Thank you, Doctor. So we don't have any more questions.
Okay.
So anyone, if you, because we still have some time left, so if you have any questions,
Yeah.
please drop it here. So yes, you could write her email.
Okay. I sure do appreciate each and every one of you for coming and listening. I know there's a lot of us from Texas A&M. I hope that you get to participate in some of the other really great work that our PIs have put forth, a lot of effort to get these grants. And it's a lot of work, but it's servicing a lot of people and a lot of kids who benefit. So it's a really, really fun thing to do. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for your insightful presentation and for your wonderful question to our participant question. So thank you so much.